Good day and welcome to Encumbered Properties Red Alert. On Encumbered Properties Red Alert, we bring you details of encumbered properties, disputed properties, and properties that are for any reason not available for sale. And today's alarm is coming from a big city in Nigeria. The alert from one of the major cities of Nigeria says, a widow and her husband's brother has been fighting over the deceased property, and the land dispute has turned bitter. According to reports made available to encumberedproperties.com, the widow said she inherited the properties from the husband via will. The brother-in-law, on the other hand, says that he is the next of kin to the deceased, and that makes him the authentic heir to the man's property. That leaves me wondering who is supposed to be the rightful heir to a man's property, the children or the brothers. We shall find answers to these questions very much on the show. Our correspondent, Abubakar Bello, reports that the dispute started after the death of Mrs. Olufunke Adebayo's husband in 2020. Mrs. Adebayo claims that the late husband bequeathed the properties to her and her children in his will. However, Mr. Benga Adebayo, the brother to the deceased, has disputed the will, claiming that he is the rightful owner of the property as the next of kin. That sounds strange, right? There is a will, but the brother to the deceased is disputing the will, saying he is the next of kin. Mrs. Adebayo claims that Mr. Benga Adebayo wants to take advantage of her vulnerability as a widow. On the other hand, Mr. Benga Adebayo has denied any wrongdoing, claiming that he is fighting so hard to protect the family's interest. With both parties presenting their arguments and evidence, the court is expected to deliver judgment soon. For the sake of humanity, not just because the property is encumbered, but for the sake of this widow and her innocent children, the general public is hereby advised to stay away from this widow's property and never patronize anybody, not even the greedy brother-in-law who has vowed to take the property away from the woman and her children. Put yourself in this woman's shoes and feel her pain. It could be anybody. The property in question is a 3-bedroom bungalow with a detached boys' quarters, situated on a 600 square meter plot of land, located at number 15, Oke Ayibe Street, off Ilesha Road, Okebola, Osogbo, Osun State, Nigeria. To get real-time notifications on Encumbered Properties, visit our website, www.encumberedproperties.com, where such properties are enlisted daily for your consumption. Follow us on our social media handles: Facebook at Encumbered Properties Limited, Instagram at Encumbered Properties Limited. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Encumbered Properties, to stay updated. You are also encouraged to enlist your encumbered, disputed, or any property that is for any reason not available for sale on our website. This will prevent an adverse claimant or land grabbers from selling your property without your knowledge. An Englishman says, we do better when we know better. It's time to seek an expert opinion on this. Let's see who has a case here. Please stay with us. We are here to seek an expert opinion from a property lawyer, a very senior police officer, and of course, the founder in Encumberedproperties.com, Mr. Madueke Enwere. He's our special guest for today, like always. Thank you for being here again.
Thank you for having me once again.
It's my pleasure. Always having you around, makes it worth it. Who should be the next of kin to a married man?
You see, when once a property settlement involves a will, the issue is easily resolved in the sense that the spirit and content of the will would be invoked. What is actually the intention or the intendment of the testator, that is the deceased who made the will, except a situation where the said will is being contested for any reason. One of such reasons could be fraud, forgery, that probably the deceased never made such a will. But in the absence of will contests, the intendment of the deceased, the testator who made that will, would hold supreme, it would hold sway above the culture and the traditions which the deceased was hitherto subject to before his demise.
Okay.
I wouldn't know what could be the traditions applicable in that setting, but it is strange, even in the absence of a will, it bites. I can't wrap my head around it, where a married man with kids, and a brother will be laying claim over his house far and above that of the wife and children.
Right.
It's very, very pathetic. If it is what is obtainable in that setting culturally, I must say it is definitely unacceptable. It is repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. You and your wife, they are regarded as one. You have kids, and somebody from the outside wants to check out the wife and children and claim to be next of kin. Now, under the English law of succession, once will has come in, the order of succession is spouses succeed each other. Spouses inherit each other. In the absence of that, if the spouses are no longer there, the children will inherit. In the absence of children, then the parents, if they are still there, would inherit. In the absence of parents, before you begin to talk of siblings. So the position of the brother-in-law to the wife of the deceased is still far. He can't be talking of being the person to inherit his brother in the presence of the wife, in the presence of the children, and if the parents are still living, they are the next to step in. It's only when these three categories of people are not there that he can count.
There is basking on the fact that the deceased made him the next of kin. So would you say it's a mistake on the side of the deceased?
Well, I listened to the report very well. There is nowhere the report said the deceased made him. He is claiming to be the next of kin. Claiming is different from the deceased made him the next of kin. Anybody can fill any form anywhere and say this is my next of kin. But the last testament of the testator, the deceased,
is the will,
is supreme to whomever he might have chosen as his next of kin.
At some point
you can fill a form anywhere. You can fill bank form. You can, in your employment place, you can indicate anybody to be your next of kin. But the content of your will is supreme over such name you might have given somewhere to be your next of kin. I don't know if you get the difference.
I get the difference.
So we call it the last testament of the testator, except there is another testament that is later in time
and must be on record.
Of course, one of the tests of validity of a will is that it has to be reduced in writing. It has to be witnessed as well.
Right.
So once there is this will, I tell you, whatever anybody is claiming probably to be the content of any document filled anywhere does not come close. And I've already narrated to you the sequence of succession.
I want to ask you a pertinent question. On the long run, we figure out that at some point in his lifetime, the deceased made Mr. Gbenga his next of kin, and there is no part of his property willed to Mr. Gbenga. Now, do you think Mr. Gbenga will surely have a case when that is unveiled? Because sometimes I hear people say, when the man dies, the next of kin will take over. So you are encouraged to eat good food with your money while you live, because next of kin know they use a ATM. They say now we draw sleepy they use.
Well, I really don't quite appreciate that. But the position of the law, once it has to do with English way of inheritance, once we are subject to will, once it is being subjected to will, is the sequence I've mentioned to you. Spouses inherit each other. In the absence of that, the children. In the absence of the children, you talk about the parents of the disease. Then before it gets to the turn of the siblings. And I must still emphasize that someone filled next of kin somewhere doesn't override the content of the will of that person.
Very well. Okay, sorry, I would want to know, from your explanation, who would you say has a better chance? Mrs. Adebayo or Mr. Gwenga Adebayo?
If I were to be the judge, I mean, the woman is cruising to favorable judgment already.
Right.
I listened to your introduction when you asked your viewers to put themselves or imagine Mrs. Olufunke Adebayo to be their daughter, sister, or even wives. Passing on, and you see another person swooping on her, trying to chase her away from your own property. Where do you want her to go? And there is also an express will bequeathing the property to her and to her children. What kind of next of kin, from where? What kind of tradition is that? And there is no document the deceased might have filled prior to his death that would override his last testament, which is the will. Yes.
So from all you've said, your brother's property is not your property. For the fact he was married while alive, his property belongs to the living, his immediate family, the wife and the children.
Thank you very much. Your brother's property is not your property.
Right, you heard that so well from my special guest of the day, Mr. Majoke Enwere, a property lawyer, a very senior police officer, and of course, the founder in Encumberedproperties.com. Your brother's property is not your property. Work hard for yours and let your brother's family drink water and job come. Would you like to get real-time notification on Encumbered properties, disputed properties, or properties that are for any reason not available for sale? Then you are on the right channel, Encumbered Properties. Subscribe to this channel, share this video, and tell your friends about us to save lives. Follow our social media platforms on Facebook at Encumbered Properties Limited, Instagram at Encumbered Properties Limited. Visit our website on www.encumberedproperties.com. Till I come your way again, stay safe and stay out of troubled properties and let the widows breathe. My name is Rex Chinedu and Kwabike, thanking you for watching.